Today's podcast is brought to you by the Too Many Men Sports Podcast.
Tony, Trish, John, and Zach break down the hottest topics in sports, as well as bringing guests along to get their thoughts on the sports headlines.
From guests such as Utica Comets defenseman Colton Saucerman to controversial topics such as trading superstar James Harden, this show leaves nothing off limits.
Too Many Men. New episodes every Tuesday and Thursday on Google Podcast, iTunes, and SoundCloud.
Just two dudes having a conversation. You're my friend and I trust you.
Well, it's another day to live your life. Gonna live it up.
Live it up.
Gonna live up your life.
Live it up.
Life. Gonna live it up.
Live it up.
Gonna live up your life. Welcome to the podcast, everybody.
It's called You're My Friend and I Trust
It's
You.
called the You're My Friend and I Trust You podcast. And boy, let me tell you, we got a special one for you today. It's going to be real good. It's just me and Pudge here. But
Doing the same thing.
Doing the same thing as always, but it's going to be really special.
Yeah.
And that's all there is that you need to know.
And
Keep on
episode
listening.
done.
Yeah, that's it. Wrap it up.
Yep.
Put a bow on it. Do you think we could... What's the least amount you think we could do? I mean, we're not getting that many viewers right now anyway. Should we drop it down to minute-long episodes?
Yes.
All right. Are we about at a minute?
We're over time, actually.
Oh shoot.
We gotta
Sorry,
wrap this
guys. We
up.
got to wrap it up. Man. I should probably shut my phone off.
Yeah, that should too.
Do we have our phone shut off?
Phone is... Yes.
All right. I feel like we started strong.
We really...
And then we kind of tanked immediately.
Yes.
You know what we should do? We should bring in a ringer.
We should.
And we just happen to have a ringer here with us. Zach Owens.
He's been giggling silently to himself.
I have, because I didn't know when you wanted me to.
I wanted to see how long we could drag it out before we introduced you.
Well, I'm just sitting here like itching. Number one, because I'm so used to hearing like the intros and to actually hear it but see it. It was so great. So thank you, listeners. You're missing out.
Did you like the heavy eye contact?
Oh yeah. I was like, I don't know where to look right now. Like, it's like they're looking at each other, and it's fantastic.
It's imperative to the intro.
It was wonderful.
And for the rest of the podcast, we'll be just looking right at each other, not even looking at you, Zach.
Nope. Okay. This is awkward.
Oh, man. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
We should probably say who he is.
Yeah. So he's your friend.
I feel like he's your friend.
He's my
too.
new friend.
New friend.
We actually just had breakfast
It was lovely.
to really solidify this newfound friendship.
Nothing solidifies friendship better than breakfast or brunch.
Yeah, I was going to recommend brunch.
I do love brunch.
I love a good brunch. What about a nice Brenner?
Breakfast for dinner. Breakfast food is always better at non-breakfast hours.
I know.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Some waffles.
See, I'm a staple at a Waffle House, so that's one of my go-tos.
Nice.
So absolutely.
I like a little midnight bacon. That's always a good little snack.
Donnie, when he lived in a house by himself, kid you not, show up to his house, and his house just always smelled like bacon.
Because I've most likely had always just cooked bacon. Or had cooked it the day before.
Just like this
So
tinge of bacon.
when I used to live with a guy, and when we were roommates, I would cook bacon and he would get so mad because I would just leave all the windows closed and there would be a thick fog of smoke in the house, of bacon smoke. And he would get so mad because everything would smell like bacon. And he would come in and just start angrily opening all the windows.
So would you make like a stockpile of bacon and then just use it for the next week?
No, I'd make a stockpile and I'd eat it all.
Oh.
I think I've talked about this on the podcast before. I used to, what I would do, because I worked third shift at a factory, and I would, on my way home, there was a gas station. So I'd pull into the gas station. I'd get a pack of bacon, buy that. I'd take it home. I would cook that entire pack of bacon and eat that entire pack of bacon for supper.
Proud of you.
And now I have chronic heartburn. Almost every day. That's a real fact.
So I was talking recently with some people about like signs you're getting older. That's one of them, is that you have to have Tums on you at all times. You just never
Actually,
know.
Tums don't do it for me. I have to take another thing called Framotidine, I think.
Say what?
Framotidine. It's over the counter, but it takes like 45 minutes. But once it kicks in, nothing works.
Do you take it? Do you take it before the fact?
I take it before I go to bed because that's when it kicks in like the most. Is when I lay down vertical. Because I've woken up basically with like vomit in the back of my throat because my heartburn's been so bad.
Beautiful.
Yeah, a nice mental picture for you right after you've had
tasty.
And you had biscuits and gravy, which is a very vomity.
Nice and chunky.
Let's keep talking about it.
Well, before we get too deep into anything, why don't you tell us who you are, when you were born, where, your social security number, your address, your
all
bank
that
account.
stuff. All that stuff. So,
ATM pin.
well, let me start, I guess, with I've known Jordan for your whole life, I feel like.
Yeah, I was actually trying to think about that, how long.
It's been, my earliest memories would be at church camp or through Bright.
Yeah.
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 Because we grew up in sort of the same town-ish area.
And you were pretty good friends with my cousin, Zach.
Yeah.
So-
He was in my band, and,
Yeah.
and we grew up going to school and church together. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, me too. And side note, your band at the time, something like Tuesday.
Yes.
I don't remember what the album was called.
The breaking moment.
It's got like the wave.
Yeah.
I think I told you this before, but in high school, it was on my Zune, and you would sing me to sleep every night.
I love that. Kind of creepy, but
I don't know why. It was like,
so those of you listening to me now, if I'm putting you to sleep, thank you. Cue the music. We're done. No, but I do remember you telling me that and that was fun. I like that. Yeah, so I grew up on sort of the west end of Cincinnati, hop, skip, and a jump into Indiana. Originally born in Seoul, South Korea. I was adopted and came to the States when I was a couple months old. Other than that, I just kind of, grew up small town Ohio. Went to school, went to college, got a degree or two. Done ministry work, taught in the university. I've done a lot of weird things, but I'm also I'm older too. So
yeah, we had
this talk.
We did. We had breakfast.
I surprised Donnie with how old I am.
Told me he was. Do you mind if I say it on the
No,
podcast?
no, please.
He told me he was 33, and
Which is so old.
I played it cool when he told me. I was like, okay, yeah. But in my mind, I was like, what? Because I said, well, one, you look very young.
And I told him, because I'm wearing a jean jacket and a flat bill hat right now, I clearly look like I'm trying to be Justin Bieber. Early Bieber days.
Because you do have the kind of straight.
I do have the emo swoop going on again. I don't know why.
You're pulling it off.
Apparently,
But
yeah.
also your vibe, like you just exude a young energy. You, like Pudge, I think that he exudes an older energy. That of like
Which he
a
accepts.
75-year-old man.
Yes.
Same with Allie.
Yeah.
I don't want to call her old.
No, you probably shouldn't.
But
she's an old soul.
Yeah. I think
she can appreciate that, right?
Yes.
I've said this before. I think she is more mature than probably all three of us combined.
Yeah, that's fair. I listened to her episode a few times, so I can agree.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm told all the time, like, you look young. That's great. That's a compliment. That's a good thing. I was like, yeah, but here's the thing. Asian men, we look really young until one day we just look straight old. I'm not wrong. Like, I know there's going to be one day I wake up and I'm just going to look in the mirror and I'm going to be like, Mr. Miyagi time. Here we go. This is it. This is it.
Are you fearful of that? Or are you accepting of that?
I think I'm accepting of it. I think I'm 33, so I'm thinking I've got at least like 50 years left of this youthful energy and look.
Right.
But by that point, yeah, and I'll probably shave my head at that point and wear robes all the time.
Nice.
It'd be great.
How much I want to laugh at this, but is that okay?
At what?
Laughing at all this?
Oh, I think it's
I
fine.
just don't know what's okay anymore in this day and age.
I don't know. I get that though. I get that it can be confusing. I'm never one to take myself too seriously. So I've always been the one to laugh about at my own expense.
Yeah.
So
because I did have this question. I had mentioned it on the podcast, but I'm doing voiceover narration for audiobooks. And they have like a wide, like there's Indian characters, there's Chinese characters. To do those voices, I feel very racist while doing those voices because I kind of have to do it's the
that would be
Chinese
hard.
American accent. But I've listened to audiobooks before where the narrator has done that and it's fine to me. Like to listen to it, it's like, okay. Like a good example would be R.C. Bray narrating The Martian, the one that they made that Matt Damon movie out of. There's an Indian man scientist and he doesn't nail the accent, but it didn't feel racist to me. But while I'm doing it, I definitely feel very racist. So I wanted to get your opinion on that.
Well, I mean, and I think it's wise that you note the power in that because I think, culture reproduces culture. So the idea that, what we hear, what we communicate, how we talk, how we say things kind of it either reinforces a notion that already exists or it creates this notion, right? Of this, like all these people sound this way or all these people behave or act this way. So there is definite power in that. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't take myself too seriously. So I think it's easier for me just to kind of do that and put people at ease. You know what I mean? But yeah, that would be a tough challenge. I get where you're coming from there.
I don't know what's going to happen once that audiobook is released. I might be ostracized from all communities, but at this point, I'm just going to roll with it and see what happens.
Do you get like a credit for that? Like your name's on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like on the audiobook version, it'll be
Narrated by
that. Yeah. And
That's
also
cool.
like I've done the opening credits already and it's like, Vagrant book 1 written by this person, narrated by Don Moretti.
You go by Don?
Yeah. I think it sounds more professional for the books.
Donald?
And it rolls. No, I don't want to do Donald. Not yet.
Talk about professional.
I don't think Donald sounds professional. Also, just saying narrated by Don Moretti sounds a little bit more professional.
Is that your narration voice? I've never heard it.
A little bit like that, yeah. Okay. Like if you were to grab me a book, I could demonstrate for you. But
So when you go by Donnie, you spell it with IE, correct?
yes, I do.
So I know a guy named Donnie who went from Donnie IE to Donnie with a Y.
I went from Donnie with a Y to Donnie IE.
Why?
Because I was told Donnie with a Y is feminine, I think. What was told to me.
Really?
Yeah, so I changed it.
I've never met a female Donnie.
I don't know. I believe what I was told, so I changed it. But that was back when I was kind of insecure. And I was like, I don't want to be viewed as feminine. Now I don't really care. And it's just been IE for so long, I don't want to change it at this point because my email is IE. So it'd be like a whole big thing to change it.
That's what, with my name, it's YN.
Yeah.
And so if people are like contacting me only based on my name, most of the time they think I'm a female. And like actually my doctor's office, it's still this way. I don't know why. I'm in the system as a female. Like, so
I feel like that could lead to some medical complications.
probably.
Love that for you. I don't know.
Have you gotten like calls or emails about scheduling a mammogram or anything?
Not yet.
This is a good thing.
Yes.
Do you think, because men can get breast cancer, right?
It's super rare, but
Yeah.
they can.
Should men get mammograms?
I don't know if you really can.
I think my question is more because it is rare. At what point, do you suspect that you should get one?
Like when you feel a lump, I guess, right?
That would make sense, I think, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Also, I refuse to ever go and get a prostate exam. That will never happen, or a colonoscopy. That will never happen. I do not care. I don't care how much it's recommended. I'm not doing it. I just don't like people touching my butt.
So the goal here, I have to hear. I love it when Jordan laughs, but it needs to go to that like wheezing state. That episode, that episode is probably one of my favorites. I was driving and I was crying. I was laughing so hard. It was great.
I think I've said before, like, something funny will happen and I'll quit laughing about that thing maybe 10 seconds into it. But I'll be laughing because he's laughing, and I
should just start laughing at him.
And it's a never-ending cycle.
Wheeze, though, is just the most hilarious thing.
Now, has that always existed? Or did that, like, show up somewhere?
The wheeze is newer.
Yeah, it used to be like this really, really annoying. Like,
it was not annoying. It was hilarious.
Like
as well.
a gun laugh. Like,
I missed that laugh because that was so funny.
I don't know when or why it changed, but then it just became exhaling.
Just pushing a whole bunch of air out.
Yeah.
Now,
to the point of about passing out.
So clearly your laugh is iconic enough for me and Donnie. But have other people commented on the iconicness of your laugh?
Yeah. So every year, like for family Christmas on my mom's side, every year for some reason, a cousin of mine named Chris, his goal would be to get me to the point where like I'm not breathing. Like I'm just, because they thought it was hilarious. It does get painful after a while. And super lightheaded. Like,
I remember one year at camp back when you had the that's my best imitation of that. There was another girl, I think she was from Bright.
Amy Underwood.
Amy Underwood.
And
she just texted me last week.
Really?
Yeah.
But her laugh made you laugh.
Yeah.
And then your laugh made her laugh.
That was a cycle.
Maybe 20 minutes of we were sitting in like a pavilion somewhere at camp and the two of you just laughing back and forth at each other.
Those are the best. They are. And I'm a firm believer that you should laugh. If you're going to laugh, you should laugh with all that you have.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So
let it out.
That's what I don't get. I don't understand the people who are just like, that's funny. And that's their laugh.
Yeah.
Like it could be genuinely funny to them. That's funny.
it's like, is it? I don't know.
No.
I like a good involuntary, like, when you're laughing.
Like the hiccupy sound?
Yeah, the involuntary inhale where you're like, that's not how I laugh. So, Zacho, you got yourself a podcast.
I do.
It's very exciting. I get to edit it.
And Zach is very grateful that Donnie is editing. Because if anybody knows me, the tech stuff is not my strong suit. But I'm glad it's yours.
Oh, man. I have had an absolute blast editing this podcast. It's, you just interview people that you know.
Yeah.
Nobody famous or anything.
Yeah.
But so far, I've edited 3 episodes, and each one has been better than the last. Mm-hmm. I feel like you have a really good knack for bringing out conversation in people.
So I've always been, some of my friends know me as the guy who always has like a question in his back pocket. And so I take that into this podcast. And, so the premise around it, one of my lifelong dreams is always to have been Jimmy Fallon and in many ways. But, I used to teach public speaking, and I always used to tell my students that you are the expert on something. You're the resident expert in this room on something, definitely your life, probably something else, and that you probably have a responsibility then to share that with other people. And the reality is most of us are never going to be the famous people with a platform and with, fame and celebrity and all that kind of stuff. But I think that it's the average Joes and Josephines that have the, still have interesting, inspiring lives. And there are people that I'm friends with that I search on my Facebook feed and I just want to see what they're doing because I know they're doing cool things. And so the goal is to sit with some of those people and let them talk about their stories, their lives, what they're doing, and to just grill them with questions.
And you do it very well.
Oh, thanks.
But one episode, the last one that I edited, the Paige Tomlinson episode.
Paige Jackson?
Paige Jackson,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. can we talk about that? Because it hasn't released yet.
No, that's fine. I think, so the first episode, if I did everything right, which I'm going to have you check for me, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
If I did everything right, it should come out on Monday.
Okay.
And so that would be episode 1. Paige's episode is episode 3.
Sorry. Makes sense now. You told me to listen to that episode last night.
Oh, it's
Could
not up
not
yet?
find it anywhere.
Oh, that's weird because when I go on Podbean, I can find.
It's on Podbean. I can't figure out if it's on iTunes yet.
I
Okay.
couldn't find it on iTunes.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I don't know if it's on that thing that Carol listens to either. So Carol, if you could send us an email. I'm clearly not a regular listener of the podcast.
Honestly, I think you know more about this podcast than we do. Probably. Because I'll forget what we talk about as soon as I walk out that door. Like, I'll forget most of this conversation that we're currently having.
Yeah,
And it seems like you remember
I try to.
just about every detail of, like, your podcast and ours, like, the conversations that we have.
It's so number one, I feel like I was late to the party. I think I saw one of your tweets, Jordan, and I was like, he has a podcast. I'm going to listen to this. And I don't know how many episodes you had, but there was one about camp stories. And I was like, oh, that's the one. Like, I have to listen to this. And I was honestly disappointed because there were none about the camp that we grew up going to, I don't think.
Oh, probably not, actually. I didn't think about it.
Yeah, I think it's just because we've gone to camp together.
But you did, in a recent episode, you talked about a pillow fight
Yes.
from the old camp that we did go to.
Yeah.
I think I was part of that pillow fight.
Were you?
And I think we did send many kids to the nurse.
I remember in that whole deal, I lost hearing in one of my ears for like a day. But I think another kid, if I remember right, got towel snapped in the back and sliced open his back to where he needed stitches.
Oh, my goodness.
Do you remember that at all?
Oh, gosh. I remember so many. This is so bad. Like, so many injuries at that camp. So
That's very true, actually.
it's a very safe place.
Kind of. Remember fights.
Right. No, but so that's from that moment I was hooked. So like I had to just kind of tune in. But I love in Cincinnati I listen to Q102 and they've got these radio broadcasters in the morning and I always called them my morning people. And it's just fun because I feel like I'm just hanging out with my friends. So when I listen to your all's podcast, that's what I feel like. I'm just hanging out with my friends. It was weird because when I talked to you, Donnie, about my podcast, I was like, it's so weird to actually talk to you and not just hear you talking at me.
Yeah.
And then I met you today, and I think we met for breakfast. I think you stood in the doorway for a second.
I did, because I wasn't sure if it was you.
And I wasn't sure if it was you. So
I've seen you before, but because we've met probably 3 times.
Yeah.
Like within the past 8 years.
and a very
Very, very
passing
brief,
sort of
like,
thing. Yeah.
Oh, hey. Like, hey, this is Zacho. I'm Donnie. Hey. And then I would leave, or you would leave. But I stood in the door. I was like, I don't know if this is Zacho. And I don't know if you remember how I said I was like, Zacho? And you're like, yeah, man, what's up?
It's so funny because there are people in my life who only know me as Zacho. And
That's all I know you as.
yeah, that's probably because that's
Yeah.
how Jordan knows me too. Yeah. And a lot of that is growing up with your cousin who's named Zach. So I was just, dubbed Zach O.
Zach Owens.
I actually had some people, they thought that was my first name. So that my name was Zacho Owens.
I thought that for the longest time. Yeah. Then I saw it spelled somewhere. I was like, oh, this makes sense.
Yep. There we go.
Well, before we forget about it, what is the name of your podcast?
It's called The Biggest Fan of Your Life.
And why is it named that?
Because I am the biggest fan of so many people. And so it's a chance for me to really affirm and encourage and really just talk them up for about an hour and a half and then, let them share their story and their stuff. So that's where it came from. It was one of those things where I didn't have to overthink the title of it. It just kind of was, this is what it's going to be called. And that's just where it went. So
Nice.
And then Donnie said, I want to edit that.
Yeah, because I was helping you, I think. How did that come to be?
Well, it kind of started as like a consult. You were giving me like your pro tips
Yeah. Right.
in all of your expertise. And then I was like, Donnie, I'm going to try this. I'm like, I want to learn how to do it. I'm going to give it a shot. And then I went home and I slept on it. And I was like, realistically, if I want this thing to start, I can't do this. Like, maybe on down the road, I can't do this right now. I need to just entrust it to somebody who knows what they're doing and can do it better than I can. And plus it allows me to focus then on the things that I can do, which is, grilling the people. And it's fun too. Like, this is a cool setup you guys have where you do your thing. But I take mine, like I've been in living rooms. I was in a hotel room for one of them. Yeah. One of the more recent ones, I was in an empty apartment. So yeah, it's just depending on whatever's available. So
it's really cool how that space that you do it in affects.
It really does.
Like we didn't really notice it. Like when we first started, if you ever listen to like one of our first episodes, it's awful.
They're horrible.
Because we're laying on couches. Literally laying on our backs, just talking into the mic to each other.
I think you sent me a picture.
Yeah, I probably did.
We tweeted one too.
Yeah.
We tweeted two. One, you were lying on the couch, and then one, I was lying on the couch, but I had a hole in the crotch of my pants.
That's
so
right.
Why you took it.
Yeah, and so like from there, the first episode we did in a workshop, in your dad's workshop, that we were sitting up. We were like,
yeah, that was like
wow.
kind of a revolutionary moment for us.
Just like that little change of your space, and then to
space and posture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to come, now when I moved into this house, we have an extra bedroom this is really, we can do whatever we want in here. Haven't really done a whole lot, but, having a table, sitting up, and so the idea like that you have of doing it in different places is really cool. Because just naturally you're gonna get different feelings on each episode. Besides the fact that you're talking to different people.
Well, and I feel like every episode, the space comes up in some way or shape or form. If it doesn't, it definitely is something that adds to the dynamic because it reinforces a lot of the stories they're telling. Like the episode I recorded on Sunday was with an 88-year-old woman.
Really?
Yeah, and she's got her... all around her, she talks about her family a lot and her husband who passed away 10 years ago and still on the walls, wow. And just very cool to see how much her family means to her as she's talking about them, wow.
It's crazy the range of people that you've talked to.
Yeah.
Even like how many episodes do you have recorded?
5.
5. Within those 5 episodes, the range is crazy. The 88-year-old woman to Paige Jackson, who's 18.
Yeah.
But so far, that's my favorite episode because she's an extraordinary person. She's 18. She is the first, correct me if I'm wrong, but the first female on her high school's robotics team.
Yeah.
One of those super smart people that when I get real down on myself about the younger generations destroying this world with their Fortnite dances, people like that like really give me hope.
Well, and that's part of what I wanted to do in this podcast is to find a great diversity of people to give different perspectives. Almost like you can sit at the table with somebody that you maybe normally wouldn't sit at the table with. And then to allow them to break down some of the common stereotypes that we hold, because Paige at 18 is not your typical 18-year-old. And I would agree with you. She gives me hope that, the next generation is going to really make a positive impact and do great things.
Yeah.
But then, even someone like Helen, 88 years old, she's been widowed for 10 years. She's been in a walker for a good portion of her life. A lot of people would look at her and think that, oh man, she must be so sad all the time. And she has a very full life. And she even told me when we set up the interview, she's like, I can do any day but Friday because I get my hair done. And so we ended up getting together on Super Bowl Sunday. And she had told me, she's like, if you want to punish me, make me watch a football game. I'm free. You know what I mean? She's a riot. She is a riot.
That's awesome.
Sweet. I look forward to editing that. I like editing it because I get like a sneak peek at everything, and I can I have all the waveforms right in front of me, so I can, if I want to, I can go back and listen to a part super easy, and I feel like I'm involved in the conversation even though I'm not. But I don't know. I like being a part of it in that way. I'm just selfish in that way.
Well, I love having you be a part of it too. And additionally, a good friend of mine, Audrey, who I went to high school with, she did the graphic for me.
Yeah.
And then a student of mine who is now in college in Cincinnati, he does the music for it. So it's just great to have friends be a part of it, to share in it, and to all be proud of it together.
Yeah.
That's important to me.
I feel like you have a nice team of people helping you out, it sounds 1,000 times more professional than ours, your podcast.
So
Because we just have our dopey little intro.
So fun story. Like I when I was first, developing this idea, I reached out to Jordan because I saw the tweet that he had a podcast. I was like, huh. And so I was like, what's your process? Like, how do you guys prepare for this? Do you remember what you said?
I don't remember exactly what I said.
You said something along the lines of, we hit record.
We don't think about it at all.
But I think that's what makes it so conversational, though.
Yeah.
It's just so natural.
It also, we've gotten a lot better as we've done it because we've been doing it for a year now.
Yeah, at least.
I think a year, if not over.
I think it's been at least a year.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. I can't believe we made it a year. Let's shoot for 3 and then exit.
And then call it quits.
Yeah. Three seasons in a movie. But
The You're My Friend and I Trust You movie.
Literally just be us staring at each other.
for an hour and a half.
It's a hit. Sign me up.
At the very beginning, I think the laying on the couches or sitting in way too comfortable chairs kind of hurt us.
Yeah.
But also just the conversation, we didn't really know how to carry it. And we would, especially the deeper topics, we would start to talk about that and then either be afraid of saying something that might hurt us. I mean, I think I already backed myself into a corner at the beginning of this one. Talking about my butt and racism, but I'm fine to do that now because I think I'm not really afraid of repercussions of what I say, and I'm okay with being wrong. I think that's a big thing.
That was a big thing for me, is saying something that even a week from now,
You don't agree with it.
I don't agree with. Yeah. And being okay with that was hard for me at the beginning. It's still hard. I mean, it's always in the back of your head. But what I like about this is I'm an introvert by nature. So is Donnie.
I'm not.
I was gonna say I don't think you are. But,
so extrovert.
yeah, and so for me, it's I don't call it a release, but it's such a different form of processing than what I normally do. Mm-hmm. But also as an introvert, it's kind of a safer space to do that because, it's just a small, even though we don't have thousands of listeners, but the 5 listeners that we have, Carol, Zacho, and
Actually, I'll give out the statistics on the podcast. This is going to make us sound a lot less cool than what we are.
Do we need a drum roll?
Sure. We average. I like how you went table and Zacho went.
Introvert versus extrovert right there.
We average about 50 downloads a week. So not great, but it's not nothing.
that's right.
So, and we're approaching the 2,000 downloads total.
Look at us.
So
Are you going to have some sort of celebration?
for 2,000 downloads? No.
We've got ourselves into trouble before with promising things that we're going to do at milestones and just
Merch.
which we do and don't have.
It happened. It was a gift to us. So it's our merch and you guys can't have any.
Although I think I am afforded something, right? Didn't I email in on something?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You
got
promised me
your
merch? I did get a magnet.
We gave you a magnet.
I did get a magnet. I do have a sweet magnet.
Has our faces on it.
I thought about just giving out the playing cards one at a time to people.
I thought about that too.
It's 52 things I can give out.
Do you guys have playing card deck?
Yeah.
We each got a deck.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I don't know where
They're not super high quality. I used my deck for euchre maybe 3 times, and you can it came in a clear plastic case.
Yeah.
You can already see the cards that we used for euchre versus the cards that we haven't used, and if they get wet at all,
Which is
they just,
crazy
crumble.
though, because they're pretty expensive to have a custom deck of cards made.
Yeah.
It's $25, right?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe I paid a lot.
It would be kind of expensive, but
I had some friends. We played a card game. I forget even what it was called, but we each needed our own deck of cards.
Oh, wow.
And so we all, for Christmas one year, each got one person their deck of cards. And I just remember taking it. I think we did it through Walgreens or something like that, and it was just really expensive. I was surprised. But yes, not the most high quality of cards.
yeah. But I don't want to pass those out because occasionally I'll bust them out for euchre, but they're starting to fall apart, so you can't use them too much.
You could always just give away the non-euchre cards.
That's true. Yeah, I did take a jack or a joker, and I have it up in my my workspace at home.
We were talking before we hit record about like the strangest thing in your car.
Oh, yeah. And I stopped telling a story.
Oh, vinegar.
So that we could record it, right?
Yes. So, Zacho was asking about like, what was the strangest thing you've ever, or do you feel like you always have strange things in your car, basically?
Right.
And I normally do, but I just got a new old car a couple of weeks ago, and so it's actually been relatively clean because I just like don't put anything in it, and I haven't had it long enough. But probably 2 weeks ago now, I noticed that my car just smelled like vinegar out of nowhere. Like, just awful. I hate the smell of vinegar. Absolutely despise it. And could not figure it out. And it got to the point where I was like, I think like there's like mold or something growing in my ventilation system, or maybe my cabin air filter is bad. So I was like preparing to tear everything apart, but it was so cold I didn't want to do anything. So I was just dealing with this awful smell of vinegar. Mm-hmm. And I probably went a week and a half, and just 3 or 4 days ago, I was with Donnie and our friend named Corey, and we had to run to the store for something. And I was like, I can drive, but my car kind of smells like vinegar for some reason. I can't figure it out. I was like, I don't know. I told him, I was like, I don't know if it's something in my ventilation system or what. And I was telling this as we were getting into the car. And so Donnie was in the front seat. Corey was sitting in the back seat, like behind the passenger seat. And so I was like, it smells like vinegar and I cannot figure it out why. And Corey goes, well, maybe it's this bottle of vinegar sitting in the back here. I was like, funny. He's like, no, there's actually a bottle of white vinegar right here. I was like, are you serious? And he pulls it out and it's like this frozen, because at this point it was like during that real bad
like
freeze spell.
-4.
Like this frozen, partly exploded bottle of vinegar that I remember I picked up groceries for my wife like 2 weeks before that, and it must have just fallen out and like underneath of my seat. And so this whole time I could have just taken it out of the car, but I never get in the back seat and didn't think to like look back there. Partly because on the driver's side door, or driver's side of my car, the rear passenger door handles broke. And so I can't open up that door, and I am too lazy to walk around the other side to open up that door. So this whole time there was just a bottle of white vinegar in my seat.
Does your car still smell like
Yes,
vinegar?
I cannot get it out, and it's driving. I've shampooed the carpets. I sprayed like Lysol into all the seats. And there's just like this little not good.
You got a vinegar car now, just forever.
I'm really bummed.
You know what you should do? Smoke a couple cigarettes in there. That'll mask that smell. That'll mask that vinegar smell.
Or put a cat in there.
Oh, gross.
I feel like cat smells just never die.
That is the worst
hate
smell to me.
cats.
I'm allergic to cats. So when I
allergic
smell
to
that,
everything.
yeah, but when I smell that cat smell, one, I hate it because it smells bad, and two, I hate it because I know that a sneezing fit is about to hit me because I've smelled it and it's too late.
I help out at a like a thrift store. They're like a nonprofit based thrift store that I help out on Wednesdays. I might have told the story on the podcast. I don't remember, but I'm gonna tell it again.
Sure.
And part of it is like I'll help when we go to pick up stuff from people's houses. I'll go with them to help carry stuff. And we went over to Worcester, which is a town over from here. There's this lady who was moving out of her house, and I don't know where she was going. Doesn't really matter. But she was basically getting rid of everything in her house. And she said, you guys can come, take what you can, leave whatever. So I was like, okay. So we got there, and it was she was a cat lady. and like as soon as you open the door, like you know you could smell it. And I like the house. There's a lot of stuff everywhere, but upstairs she had 2 beds that were like perfect condition, so we were gonna take them. So I'm carrying the mattress, which is like a full-size mattress, like trying to get it around like this, you know, the real small stairways of old houses. So I'm like holding it, trying not to fall down these steps. And the guy I was with was inside, like trying to take the bed frame apart. And I hear him scream and then something shoot across my feet. Like at that point, like I almost fell down the steps or whatever. And here she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." She was like, "Eddie lives in the box spring and I forgot about it." The cat was living inside of the box spring that was still on the bed. And when he went to move it, it comes shooting out and sprinting out the door. It scared the crap out of me. And like, yeah, we didn't take the bed.
Because it belonged to Eddie.
Right.
He's like, back up. This is my house. Was Eddie pooping and peeing in there as well?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Eddie.
Come on, Eddie.
Grow up, Ed.
I think the weirdest thing in my car right now is if you open my trunk and dig around, you'd find my cup from when I was a catcher in high school. Because when I moved to
There it is. There's Louise. Mission accomplished. Well done, Donnie.
How nonchalantly. Find my cup.
I mean,
Like everyone has one.
let me explain this. So, oh no, I'm going to kill him.
Yeah.
When I lived in Pittsburgh, a dude that I worked with at the bookstore I worked with, he was joining a floor hockey league, and they needed a goalie. And he was like, "Hey, you should be the goalie on our floor hockey league." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, okay." I ended up moving, and I wasn't their goalie. But I had one of the times after he asked me to be their goalie when I went back to my parents' house in Ohio for a visit, I got all my catcher gear because you can use that to be a goalie in floor hockey. But I was like, I got to have my cup just in case. Windy. Is that what that is?
No, these sirens go off randomly in this town.
I had that in Pittsburgh too. It happened 3 times a day.
I was sitting, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, like a few months ago, and just started going off. And I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So I figured if I die, I die.
If I die, I die.
I die.
Sorry.
But I just had all my catcher's gear in my trunk of my old car and somehow it transitioned over to my new car. And I just haven't taken it out. And now it's been 3 years that it's been in there.
And now you just got to leave it there.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know where else to put it. That is just where it is now. That's its home, is the trunk of my car. So if anybody needs a cup, I got you covered.
We appreciate all that support. Gosh. Okay, so I went out there. The whole reason this topic came up is because I went out to my car to grab headphones, but I noticed that I've got a bunch of weird things in my car. So I have 4 things, and I'm going to see if you can guess which of these things is not in my car.
Okay.
A game.
Yes. So
we love games on this podcast.
So 4 things right now. Okay. One of them is not in my car.
Okay.
Which one is it? Okay. Number 1, a 4-foot tall teddy bear. Number 2, a box of K-pop albums. Number 3, a Michael Jackson Thriller jacket. Number 4, a tub of hotel shampoos.
How big of a tub?
Maybe like a bread box.
Okay. I'm going to say that for sure is in there because I know you were just at a hotel in Kentucky doing the podcast.
That was in December, yes.
But I bet that you took the...
I mean, if they're going to give it to you,
right,
you may as well.
Do you think they change them out every time anyway?
I mean, I don't know. What would they do with the ones that don't get used?
Throw them away?
That's so sad.
Yeah. But like some psychopath could have like injected what's that stuff? Anthrax in there. You don't know.
There's
no safety
that's a
seal on
thought.
those things. I'm just saying it could happen.
Well, if I have a tub of these in my car,
I'm just got a tub of anthrax in your car.
yeah, not quite the bottle of white vinegar, but
But I do think that those are in there. I'm going to say that. I'm going to say the teddy bear's in there. I'm going to say the K-pop is in there. And what was the other one?
so that leaves the Michael Jackson jacket.
Yeah, I don't think that's in there.
Okay.
I'm going to go with, I don't think K-pop's in there.
Okay. Any other? I want to know the rationale for why those things. Like.
Okay, so the Michael Jackson Thriller jacket, unless it was for like a Halloween thing, and I don't know you very well, so this isn't very grounded in anything, but it just doesn't seem to me like that would be your style.
Okay.
I don't want to say that's your style, but you at lunch today or at breakfast today, you mentioned that. But maybe this also isn't that grounded because you mentioned like top 40 and how
Like top 40 music.
yeah and how like this one particular song you really liked that was playing at the diner, and then we had talked about emo music like My Chemical Romance and all that stuff.
Yes.
So it seems like you have you listen to a wide range of music.
I do.
And I'll admit it, K-pop is darn catchy.
It is.
I think that's why those things are in there and why
Okay.
and the teddy bear, I don't know why it would be in there, but it just seems too plain compared to everything else to not be in there.
That's fair. That's fair.
That seems like the
4-foot
most
teddy bear
that
is
seems like the
plain.
most normal thing out of all of this.
When that's the most normal thing in your car. Goodness.
Yeah, as Donnie was talking, I was like, I should have changed mine.
What are you changing to? We'll allow. You haven't hit the final answer buzzer yet.
I'm going to change to the bottles of shampoo.
You think that that's not there?
I'm going to say it's not there. Mainly just because, knowing you, everything else would make sense. Like, the thing that makes the most sense, not saying you're not unsensical, what's that word?
Like practical?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we'll go with that. But you just always seem to have the most random things.
I do. I have the most random things in my car, always.
And like, you're always doing the most random things. And
Yeah.
so a 4-foot teddy bear seems very random to me. The Michael Jackson jacket kind of goes along with the K-pop thing with the music. And I don't know, maybe you were doing a music video for K-pop and needed it.
For a talent show?
For a talent show. So that's my rationale.
Okay.
A lip sync battle?
I love a good lip sync
We
battle.
should do a lip sync battle on this podcast.
Because that would go over well.
Ooh, I do have another question after this, though.
Listen to the music.
So,
Zach could commentate on it.
so the thing that is not in my car is the 4-foot tall teddy bear.
Too plain.
But I will say this, though. Up until about 2 months ago, there was a 4-foot tall teddy bear in my car.
Okay.
So
this was a trick question.
well, here's the thing. I'm a horrible liar. So, like, I have to find something that's kind of true and tweak it a little bit. So, the 4-foot tall teddy bear is not in my car currently. But, and Jordan, you know this, like, working, in the church, when you do ministry stuff, that in itself sometimes brings like a bunch of random stuff into your life. Yeah. So the 4-foot tall teddy bear was part of a stage prop that we used.
Okay.
So he was in my car for a little bit. His name was Milo. He lived in my office for a little bit too.
Nice.
The Michael Jackson Thriller jacket is in my car, and that was also a part of a church thing. We had done a series called I Love the 80s, and we did like an 80s, song every week.
But it's not your style. You wouldn't wear it any other day of the week?
I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't.
Oh, darn it.
I don't know.
I thought I had it nailed.
So Michael Jackson coat is there. The tub of hotel shampoos and soaps is totally there. And yes, because I always steal it. You have to.
Yeah.
Pay for it.
It's unethical not to because you don't want the next person to get anthraxed.
Yes, that's definitely why I steal it. So altruistic of you, Donnie. I love that. But the box of K-pop albums is in my car also. That's from my sister. She is a big K-pop fan. And I was telling Donnie over brunch this morning, my new thing is Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, I'm addicted.
Do you buy or sell?
Both.
I sell, and I have made over $600 selling
cow.
stuff. Yeah.
Selling the shampoo?
I did not sell the shampoo. No.
Tub of unanthraxed
No, but yesterday,
hotel shampoo.
so literally yesterday I sold an ape monkey mask for $5 and 2 Razor scooters. Yeah.
I honestly,
It's crazy.
I think you messed up though. I think you should have held on to those Razor scooters for like another probably 20 years. Collector's item.
You think?
I think so.
Nostalgia.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's so funny though, because I was telling Donnie, it's like fishing because you put it out there and you can set the location. So depending on what the item is, because I travel around a lot between like 2 or 3 different cities. So I'll cast into the right pond, then I wait. And you can watch the views. So you can see the fish just kind of like looking, and then one bites and they send you a message like, is this still available? And it's like, oh yeah, it is. And then
That's so true.
And then you start reeling them in. And then when you go to meet, I'm telling you, it looks like a shady deal because like I've met people in like a Walmart parking lot, an IHOP, a UDF, all sorts. It's just nuts. But like I said, I'm $600 richer.
That's the second time I've heard that fishing analogy today.
Yeah.
You told it to me at breakfast. It got better the second time.
Yeah, it's because we have an audience. But yeah, I have. So that's another reason why I have all this random stuff in my car. Is I'm selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace.
Are these things that you just have had or you acquire to sell?
Oh, I had these things. I didn't acquire them to sell. I'm not that hardcore.
Yeah, I know. A guy I work with, he is like addicted to auctions. And he says it's to sell things, but if you go in his basement, he just keeps everything, and his wife is about to kill him for it. But there's actually there's some pretty solid money in that. Like,
oh yeah,
like if you get the right, they auction off like bulk things, like a pallet of random returns or whatever. You can make a nice. Profit, yep.
There's the word.
I got your back.
I was going to say nest egg, but that's stretching.
If that's where you choose to put it, then sure. I really would like to do like the Storage Wars thing where you bid on an abandoned storage unit and just get what you get. Because I really love that. I actually, this might seem weird. I love rummaging through people's stuff. I don't just go to people's houses and do it. But what I'm saying is...
Go on.
No longer welcome here.
I've seen all your drawers.
Yes.
I know all your secrets. But I used to, when I was younger, like in high school, I used to go to abandoned houses with my friends and just like root around because there would be abandoned houses that got foreclosed on and they just took like some clothes and left. And everything else would be in there. We went in a house from the 70s, and it hadn't been touched except like random people going in and out of there and like writing on the walls and stuff. But it hadn't been lived in since the 70s, and that was crazy. Seeing like we found a whole bunch of old peach preserves in the basement from the 70s, and I don't know if you could still eat those, but I threw a bottle against the wall and it broke open and smelled like peaches. So.
You didn't try one?
No, I'm not that adventurous. But there's something super cool about seeing abandoned stuff like that. And like, man, somebody used to live here and now there's just like debris all over the floor. And like, you can see the remnants of what this house used to be. And like the windows are broken and there's trees growing into it. And it's very interesting. It's very interesting. I wish I would have been a photographer back then and taken some pictures of some of the houses that I've been in.
So one of the things that I love pictures of barns that are falling apart. I think that, I don't know why, it's just something that looks really cool to me.
Yeah.
There used to be one off of the exit that when I'm going home, and then it was just gone one day, and I was really sad about that. I have no other attachment to it other than I would just pass it, but now it's gone, and it was really pretty to look at.
If you drive around here enough, you'll find a whole bunch of abandoned barns. That's one.
So what are you guys doing after this podcast? Are we gonna
let's
go barn rummaging?
Yeah, for sure, without a doubt.
So I had another question as we were talking. You mentioned lip sync battle.
Yes.
And you've sang a number of songs on this podcast.
We have.
Mostly made up ones, I think. But
yeah.
your cover of Toto by Africa was very nicely done.
Thank you.
So my question is, if you were going to be on lip sync battle, or if you were going to, step up to the karaoke stage, what would be your karaoke song?
Oh, good question. I'm not going to say Africa by Toto. That's obviously my first instinct is to say that one because I know there's not a lot of songs that I actually know the correct or all the words to. That is the one song probably. I was scream singing Strawberry Wine the other day.
Like Deanna Carter, Strawberry Wine?
Strawberry wine,
17.
how'd you like me? That one.
And you were scream singing it?
Yeah, like doing it way
Like, whoa. Like that kind of scream singing?
No.
Oh.
I maybe have done that at one point in my life, but I'll do it right now. I'll back away from but just doing it way in an octave way higher than what it should be. So like, Strawberry wine, 17. Just that while I was making a smoothie.
That last little detail while making a smoothie. That's it. That's the picture.
You gotta live life the best way that you can, man. You gotta do.
Was it a
makes you
strawberry
happy.
smoothie?
It was. That's why I was singing it. It was a strawberry banana smoothie.
Goodness.
With peaches and blueberries.
Jordan, what's your karaoke staple?
Oh man, I have never done karaoke in my life.
That's surprising to me.
Yeah, and it's one of those things I'm always like,
I've never done it either.
What?
No, never done
Guys,
it.
what are you doing after this podcast?
We're introverts.
We're gonna
it's a
rum.
nightmare.
You'll rummage through abandoned houses, but getting up on stage to do some karaoke?
Well,
No?
there's nobody in the abandoned houses.
If there were, it wouldn't be abandoned.
That's right.
Just be trespassing.
Oh, sorry. I thought this house was abandoned. We're having dinner.
But yeah, it's funny because my job is leading worship, so singing in front of people, which I have no problem doing. Singing karaoke terrifies me.
Really?
Yep. Now, if I was playing a guitar and just singing a song, outside of worship, just getting up and singing, I don't know, whatever, that's fine too. For some reason, the thought of I don't know if it's just the atmosphere of karaoke, if that makes sense, just terrifies me or what. But
That everybody's judging you against the original version.
I don't know.
The original singer.
But I think it's shows like American Idol and The Voice, since the age of those shows, that make us feel like everybody's judging us.
It might be that.
But karaoke, I think the expectation is just that everybody's here just to have a good time. If you're trying too hard, that's where they start judging you.
Oh yeah, you can't take yourself too seriously.
You can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're trying too hard, then it's you're not fun. It's more about the entertaining, unifying that we all are just doing this.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What's your song?
If I'm back and forth, but I would probably choose, I can't remember the title of it. It's a Garth Brooks song.
Is it Friends in Low Places?
No.
That's like a karaoke staple.
No, this would be
Is it that one? She had the need to
Feel the Thunder. Absolutely.
You guys are like friends.
We also
Trust each other. almost got him back to the wheezing state. Almost.
We sing as we ride in cars together. Like if we're ever driving anywhere, we'll just sing.
That's cute.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, man. I think so.
I do.
But we sang a Zac Brown band song, and it's like a joke between us now that we start it way too low, and the line of the song just keeps decreasing in lowness. I don't know what to call it. I'm a music person. I should know that. But so what it's we couldn't remember.
Was knee deep in the water somewhere. Got the blue sky breeze blowing wind through my hair, and the water in the world is a tide gonna reach my chair.
And that's our joke.
I couldn't hit that low. I could not hit that low note if I tried. That's crazy.
But we were just singing a whole bunch of random songs one day. We started that one, and we both knew that it was way too low.
Just went
And we went for it.
Wow.
Yeah. True friends.
Love that.
He's also wearing my hat right now.
Isn't it your dad's hat?
It's my dad's hat, yeah. Matt's
Like
hat.
literally your dad's hat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, my dad's not worn it in a while. My dad's he's transitioned away from, like, that's a trucker hat.
Yeah, it
there.
is.
It's actually a really nice hat. And it
It's
looks good
bright
on you.
yellow, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the mesh in the back.
real tall.
Yeah, real tall. It's
pointy.
it's from the 80s,
Nice
for
and
sure.
foamy.
Yeah, my dad has transitioned from trucker hats to cowboy hats now. He's a cowboy hat guy.
See, it's so weird because I feel like in the country music scene, at least, it's been away from cowboy hats towards trucker hats.
My dad doesn't follow trends. He just does what he wants,
We love that about your dad.
which explains me a little bit because I'm slowly becoming my dad.
What's funny is our friend Corey, who I was talking about earlier, he was in the car with us. Same day, we were at Donnie's house when we were working on a table. And
My dad has a nice big wood shop.
yeah, and
so
Corey,
I had them over to work.
Corey had never met his dad before, and so, so we're sitting in the workshop. Donnie's in another room, and Matt comes walking in, and I was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? Good." And he walks right over to Corey, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Matt." And Corey's like, "I'm Corey." He's like, "Can I get you to move your car?" And Corey's like, "Oh, yeah." And as Matt left, Corey turns to me and goes, "Dude, that's Donnie in like 35 years."
Did he say that?
Yeah. It's like the exact same person, just older.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I'm
Yep.
slowly accepting that fact.
Yeah, I would. Your dad's cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He's just very weird in his own person. But he's weird in the same way I'm weird, in which it's like a good kind of weird, I think. Like he's just a character.
Yeah.
He has this very his own unique style of dressing. I got him a leather cowboy vest for Christmas 2 years ago, and he almost cried. He was so happy.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And we got him also, he's a redneck, but also Italian. So he has like these redneck words like edumacation that he says and tarnation and all this stuff. But also like he'll throw in like the few Italian words that he knows. Like he makes his own pasta sauce, which is amazing. It's
really good.
Very good. We got him a pasta maker for Christmas one year. He did cry that year when he got that. He was so happy because it's actually from Italy. So within the same sentence of using edumacation, he'll also say something like tutti a tavola a mangiare, which means come to the table and eat in Italian. A mangiana. I'm not sure the last word, but tutti a tavola a mangiare, maybe. Dad, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, so he's just a very interesting, uniquely weird person, but in a good way. And I feel like I take after him in that way, which I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So is he a crier naturally? Like, does he do a lot of things make him cry, or are those like?
He is exactly like me, or I'm exactly like him, I guess. In real life, not very often, but I also in real life, not very often. But if I'm watching a movie, I'm sobbing. Same thing with him. We watched, what was it? Oh, again with my girlfriend, we watched Hot Shots. Not Hot Shots. That's a different movie. It's a movie with Josh Brolin where he is a firefighter in California, like fighting the wildfires. And spoiler alert, like his whole team plus him die in a wildfire. And we watched this with my girlfriend, and myself and my dad are just sobbing, like tears streaking down our face. And it was the second time I saw it too. So I knew it was happening, and I was still just sobbing. And my girlfriend's just sitting there uncomfortably because she's not a crier at movies. She's like, I didn't know what to do because it was one of the first times meeting my dad, and he's just openly sobbing in front of her. But yeah, but in real life, not very much of a crier. I will say I'm a very sympathetic crier. So if you were to start crying right now, I would cry along with you.
Okay. Well, that could happen. I cry at everything.
Do you?
I'm a very emotionally on edge person, I guess. I don't know.
I don't really cry all that much. Although since getting married, it's really I can feel it more. Like that in the back of your throat, like you start getting a little choked up. I feel that a lot more often. The first time Allie saw me cry, it was actually just in October, was at my sister's wedding, my little sister's wedding, because I had forgot that they had asked me to pray for the meal. And like they asked me a few months ago, and I was like, oh yeah, I just had to mentally prepare myself. Like it's my little sister getting married. And so they're like, Jordan, you got to pray. I was like, oh crap. So I got up there, almost made it through, and then just lost it. Like big time, like couldn't talk, lost it. And so I get back to the table, and I could tell Allie wasn't really quite sure what to do. Because, like, again, she really had never seen me cry before. And so she was like, are you okay? I was like, oh, I'm fine. Like, it's just my little sister's wedding. And, but we watched Wonder the other night. Have you seen that?
I've not seen it, no.
Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. And we were both crying on the couch. Like, it's such a good mood. Like, it's really good. But so I'm embracing it a little bit more. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just had never been that way before.
I will say, I think if you were to cry in front of me, I would sob.
You like, I don't remember what I said last night, but you were like, oh, started getting teary eyed.
You'd said something about our friendship.
Yeah.
Like you just said like that you appreciate our friendship, and that, do you want to talk about that? A little bit of that conversation?
Yeah.
You said that, and we talked about this a little bit, that working in a church, it can be very isolating and lonely because you tell somebody that you work in a church, and they kind of put up this false front in front of you because you're a church person, and they got to look good in front of you. So a lot of those friendships that you make while working at a church, and again, this is your guys' perspective and not mine because I don't work in a church. But a lot of those friendships that you make in a church can feel very fake and very false. And like you have friends, but they're not like deep friends. But you said to me that you appreciate the fact that I'm just myself with you and I'm real. And that almost made me cry.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was telling him how, like, I appreciated, since we knew each other before I started working in a church, it's like that kind of, it's like, it's same way with you. Like, we would get together, and, like, it was kind of like a safe space where you can vent about whatever you need to talk about and know that it's not going to.
It's just different.
Yeah, it really is.
And I feel weird saying that, like, other friendships, through church, I feel weird saying that they're fake because I think they're real, but they are different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, when you have some of those that you feel like you can really just, be yourself around.
And you feel like they're being them, like their true selves too.
Yeah.
Like they're not guarded either.
Yeah. It becomes a very valuable thing. Yeah. Absolutely.
And that was a perspective that I hadn't really thought about that much. Because like you tell me about what you experience working in a church, and it's been eye-opening for me.
Yeah.
But that was one of those things that kind of took me by surprise a little bit. But now that you say it, it makes a lot of sense.
And I'm coming out of working for a church and kind of readjusting to not working for a church. And so it's just very, your life dynamic changes, and it's hard to describe because it's one of those things that I don't feel like you can really relate to until you experience that. I mean, even just the most notable, I think, is just your weekend shifts, because your Sunday when you work in a church is a work day, and it feels very much like a work day. It's exhausting. And so where other people have like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday weekend, you get essentially a Friday and part of a Saturday if you're lucky, because Saturday night, you're praying for Sunday. Yeah. Yep. And Thursday night, I don't know about for you, but in my experience, Thursday night's a pretty high, event night for things. So yeah, you just don't know. It's just a very, different kind of work life.
Yeah.
Zach and I were talking about Corey too. Corey is our church's associate children's minister and
youth. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Sorry.
I always mess up his title. I don't think I'll ever get it right.
Assistant to the youth minister.
Assistant to the youth minister. We'll say that. But Zach and I were talking about how like his job, he hardly ever gets any sort of weekends because being involved with the youth on his days off, they might have something going on, like an event or
even like kids' sports games or
stuff that
things like that
he feels obligated to go to and be a part of because he's part of that environment with the church. He told me he has CIY Believe coming up, I think next week.
Yep.
Have we all been to CIY?
Yeah.
I know I have.
Did I ever go with you to Believe, Jordan? I don't think I did.
I don't know about Believe.
I worked with Jordan's youth minister, Kevin, a lot, and we collaborated on a lot of different things, and I would sometimes go to Believe with Kevin. And Kevin and I always called Believe Weekend the craziest 30 hours in youth ministry.
Yep.
It is nonstop.
Apparently, Pape, the head youth pastor.
Pape!
He asked Corey, why isn't Donnie going as a volunteer? Because apparently they need chaperones.
Yeah.
And Corey's like, are you kidding me? Donnie, around 4,000 middle school kids would be horrible.
We were actually talking about this. We had a camp meeting yesterday, and we were talking about you specifically and how
your church,
the camp, like leadership team
for Round Lake.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about you and how I haven't even talked to you about this yet, but they basically want you to dress up as Jimmy Fallon, and I don't know exactly what it all entails, but you'd like hosting something.
Okay.
But anyway, and they're like, he'd be great at it, but I doubt he's going to do it. And we got to talking how we don't understand how the kids love you so much and you absolutely hate them.
I'll put this out there. I don't go to camp for the kids. I go to camp for the hangs with the faculty.
But they love him.
I don't know why.
Every year we do for the mission time, instead of just like, hey, give an offering. The faculty brings like anything. Like you bring a case of Mountain Dew, and then
those sell really well.
We do an auction, and so kids can.
Oh, okay, that's smart.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
How
they do it. It was a couple years ago now. Donnie was like auctioned off 100 high fives
and a hat,
and it went crazy. And this girl ended up winning it and came back the next year ready to get the rest of her high fives that she didn't get the year before.
And she remembered where she left off high five wise.
They love him, and I don't understand.
I don't get it, because all I do is yell at them.
Or
just ignore them.
Sounds like a very unhealthy relationship.
Honestly, one of my favorite interaction memories. Also, write down silent disco. I want to talk to you about that.
Ooh.
That was one of my favorite parts, actually. But one of my favorite me interacting with the campers memory is this. I think I don't know how many years have we even been doing that for a while now. Maybe 3 years ago, there was a stair, like outside stair, like going up a hill, like concrete stairs with a railing. And I just stationed myself at the bottom of the stairs and was yelling at the campers to be safe and grab the railing for probably like 45 minutes.
There was always also, so this is my favorite Donnie story of camp. I'm trying to find the picture real quick. So the first year, and I think it was probably the first year, we we were short on faculty. And so normally the band, like, that's just the responsibility we have. We just are the band. And so the first year we were short, so we had to fill in and be like team leaders. And dang it, I don't have the picture anymore. Anyway, so the first night is Donnie and I and a friend of ours in a group. And we were sitting there and in a circle. And at this point, I think the kids were up doing something. And I noticed Donnie just like staring at this kid, like with a contemplating look. He was like looking at him.
I don't remember this.
You will. And
Was this when Abby was our?
yeah, it was with Abby.
Okay.
And
Hi, Abby.
and I was kind of looking at him. He goes, "You see that kid over there?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, he's got a face that should be on a can of soup, you know? He's got a soup face.
Oh no.
And I wish I could show you the picture because he's so right.
Okay, this is what I meant by that. He had just like one of those like round, like, I don't want to say cute kid faces because I don't want to get in trouble in any way, but he had a face that would have looked good advertising like a can of Campbell's soup.
It's blue eyes, blonde hair.
Yeah, round face.
So the whole week, like to this day,
He's soup kid.
he's soup face.
Soup face.
Yeah.
He's a great kid. It's just,
Oh, it's so nice. There have been a couple kids throughout the years though that have been really great. What was that? The one kid that like just face planted coming down the hill.
Bobby.
So we were in that group. We kind of split off boys and girls because they're middle schoolers and they don't like to interact. Like the guys don't like to talk around the girls and vice versa. So we split off guys and girls. And there's a big, massive hill at Round Lake. And we were in a gazebo, Pudge and I, and sitting on picnic tables. And all the kids were up there and we're like, hey, come down. We need to start. So big, massive hill. All these kids come running down or walking down. But one kid ran because he was like one of those really good kids that just wanted to obey and listen to us. So he was like trying to hurry down the hill, and right at the bottom, trips and skids on his face.
Like his legs like scorpion, you know?
He's just sliding on his face across the grass. Oh, but
Broke his glasses.
But we had to applaud him for effort.
You always do.
Yeah. But I wanted to talk about the silent disco, which is one thing that I really loved doing with the kids. What it was is our youth. It's not our youth minister. It's our old worship pastor, Jeremiah. But he's the dean that week. He rented its wireless headphones that receive from a single transmitter. So they're noise canceling. So what you do is you just plug in like your phone to this transmitter, and it goes out to all these headphones. And you have like a disco, a party.
I've heard about these on cruises.
Yeah, but you take off the headphones, and it's just all these kids just singing to these songs. You hear like shoes squeaking, but you don't hear the music.
It's awesome, isn't it?
It's amazing. And what we did is we set up. I was the DJ for it. Like I made the playlist and I DJ'd it, and I got to sit like up above all these kids who were down on the floor in the gym. And we shut off all the lights and had black lights along the sides of the gym. And then we gave there was probably like 5,000 glow sticks.
There was a ton.
So all these kids were just draped in glow sticks. They were like gathering up all the glow sticks and throwing them up in the air. It was so great. That's probably one of my best camp memories because that was so fun.
And you can put on your resume that you were a DJ for a silent disco.
Yeah.
Donnie also got yelled at for playing closing time at the end.
Oh, yeah. There's a curse word in it or something.
Yeah. Yeah. But I thought it was hilarious. And then the staff.
What a great way to end it.
Yeah.
Right?
Closing time.
One last call for alcohol. So finish your whiskey or beer. That might have been the problem right there.
Yeah, it probably was. Then the staff later on when the kids went to sleep, like, what was it, probably 8 of us went back up and had
10.
Another like hour and a half of just like us in a circle.
Yeah.
I blew my voice out.
Yeah.
I was
just
like, my shirt was soaked in sweat.
So sweaty.
So much fun.
I also liked Abby's approach to it because she went no headphones.
Yeah, she went no headphones and just like
She got a completely
played along?
different experience.
Wow.
But she was dancing. She got a completely different experience than the rest of us.
I need to do one of these. I've never done one.
they're so much fun.
I've just heard about them.
It's so
Everybody
much
raves
fun.
about them.
This year where they're going to do it again.
Yeah.
And you can have systems that have 3 channels. So you can actually do 3 different playlists going,
Yeah.
and kids can select what they want to hear. And so when you take your headphones off, you just hear like random.
It's like this cacophonous noise. Yeah.
But it's really great when I was also surprised with how many older songs the kids knew. What was that one like old classic rock song? Oh, Living on a Prayer.
Oh, yeah.
So like I was really surprised with how many kids knew that song, but only knew the chorus. So it'd be like, whoa, living on a prayer.
I love it.
Really great.
I am finding though that kids are, I think with Netflix, they're catching up on like a lot of the shows that I grew up watching. And so, they're watching through Friends for the first time. Yeah. And I think it's turning now into where they, with Spotify, they're going back and they're actually listening to some of that music where they're, discovering that or, living it, if you will, know?
Yeah.
I love that trend. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also read something about like it was One Direction a few years ago, the music they were putting out and like why it was so popular. And so many of the songs were reminiscent of some of those 80s rock bands. Like to the point where you might go like, oh, they totally ripped that, but it worked. And in a way, you can be mad about it, but it's one of the cool things it was doing was unifying parents and kids over music that, they all could relate to and enjoy. So if you listen to some of those songs, it's like, oh, that sounds like that one Def Leppard song, or that sounds like they actually have one that sounds a little bit like Living on a Prayer. And I'm like, it's just a different take.
That's really interesting.
Having the third is nice.
Having one that's like on.
Yeah, he can actually harmonize. We can't. Do you want to try to harmonize right now?
Yeah.
All right.
We get beat up so much for being musicians and not being able to figure this out.
It's one of those things that you, because do you harmony though, don't you? A little bit?
Very little.
Oh man.
I struggle with it hardcore.
There are fewer things that I love more than a perfect harmony. I love harmony.
Really?
Like I almost rather sing harmony than lead sometimes because it's just more fun. But I attribute a lot of how I learned to do harmony from listening to the Backstreet Boys.
Oh.
I tell people all the time that's how I learned
makes
harmony.
sense. Yeah.
That's it. Yep. So there you go, friends. Listen to some Backstreet.
I like NSYNC.
Oh, the lines have been drawn.
Yeah, if we're talking about that, I just
98
prefer...
degrees.
98 Degrees was always a safe one. Like you could like 98 Degrees and be in either camp and be okay, especially in the area we're from because they're like locals.
I'm a
But
fence sitter, yeah.
well, you sit on that fence.
Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Meet you at the crossroads.
Sorry, gotta make an email here.
I don't think I said my karaoke staple.
You did.
Yeah, what is your karaoke
My
staple?
karaoke go-to is always Def Leppard's "Pour Some Sugar on Me."
I was
Really?
gonna say that earlier.
Were you?
Yeah.
That's my staple. Yet, I honestly I've always wanted to sing Shania Twain's "Man, I Feel Like a Woman." I've not, but one day I would love to do that.
Like a woman.
Did you guys know that Nashville is the capital for bachelorette parties in the States?
I didn't know that.
That's where both my sisters went.
I
Yeah.
also just didn't think about bachelorette parties like traveling out of state.
Oh, they do.
Usually they
And
run
a
a
lot-
minivan.
And a lot of them go to Nashville. I was down there not too long ago, and like they get on one of those pedal cart things, where like you can drink and pedal
yeah.
and whatever, and like they. So during the daytime, you hear nothing but Shania Twain's "Man, I Feel Like a Woman," because you have all these bachelorette parties going, and they're just pedaling around the streets, and you just go like, "Whoa!" and they're just having like a good old time.
Man, I feel like a woman. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So I mentioned your band you were in, like an hour ago now. What are you doing now, if anything?
So, over the last 10 years, probably, I've been writing some songs, and actually you did some demo tracks with me on some of them. You helped me track some of those.
About that.
Yeah. And so I've been sitting on them and just haven't done anything with them. And so I'm finding that I'm in a season of life where I can do something about it. So, I actually have reconnected with a lot of those guys, from my band and just said, hey guys, this is what I want to do. I've got all these songs and I've been writing some new stuff. I want to give them full life.
Yeah.
Do you want to do this? And, most of those guys, they have families now. They're married with kids, which is all good and gravy. It's great for them, but they miss making music. Mm-hmm. And I miss making it with them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's one of those things where we're not looking to get out there and do shows, but to write together and to do a good recording, absolutely down for that. So, that's what I'm looking at this year, is just collaborating with those guys and continuing to write. And if it results in a project by the end of the year, great. If not, we're at least going to make headway.
So did you feel like when you were doing worship at the church full time, did you feel like that side of it, just kind of, I don't want to say got you just either didn't feel like you had time to do it, or you didn't have the desire to do stuff like you're doing now?
I think it just takes up a lot of your energy. And so a lot of, especially my creative energy, was going into, the work of ministry. And so there just wasn't a lot left over to really pour into that other stuff. And so now, that I'm not doing ministry work, I've got jobs that I'm doing that pay the bills, and they're fun jobs. I love them, and I just kind of clock in and clock out. But so it affords me actual time, but also that creative space and that energy to actually, develop something. Yeah. So that's where, I've really been pouring into the podcast and into writing new stuff, because I can do that now.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
So when this, or as this stuff is complete or whatever, where can people find that?
So, I've got my Facebook music page, which is just facebook.com/Zach Owens Music. That's what I'm using right now. Eventually, I would love to get, a Spotify account with music up on there. I'm working on trying to get a website together. Again, I'm not the techie guy, so I'm trying to do this in a way that makes sense to me. But I want to do it right too. So it's not high priority right now. High priority is the podcast right now. Yeah. But eventually I'd like to have a website where it's kind of the main hub for everything. And so in due time.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're at our longest episode ever.
Yep.
Officially.
I'm sorry. You can always try and do a two-parter maybe or something. Yeah. I don't know.
It's all been great.
Yep.
This is fun. It's so different to be here with you.
Yeah, to not be hosting.
To not be listening.
To be part of the conversation.
Yeah, because I'm so used to just hearing and laughing. Usually in my car. I'll be honest. I usually have you on when I'm driving somewhere. But yeah, it's here, and I can see your faces, and I can see you looking at each other for a very long time.
Yeah,
it's uncomfortable.
Not too long though.
Not too long.
I don't think
just long enough.
I don't think there is a length of time that's too long to stare at this man right here.
And cue the music.
I have a very unique gift of making rooms uncomfortable.
That is a gift.
It's pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
Just talk about your butt a little bit. Call back.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Well, Zacho, where can people find your podcast?
So right now, let's see, it will be, hopefully, again, if I've done everything right, Monday, which is what, I don't even know anymore.
The 11th.
The 11th, thank you. See, you work for a church.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I always knew the calendar by Sundays, and then you just add one, but now I don't know anything. So Monday the 11th, hopefully the first episode will drop, and you can find that probably on iTunes, definitely on Podbean, and probably I don't know about that thing Carol listens to. We'll see. But Carol, let us know. Biggest fan of your life podcast, Carol, if you can find it.
I'll help you out so you can it automatically uploads to YouTube as well.
Sweet deal.
It's like a different setup, but
yeah. But eventually it'll be on all of them. I think. I know it takes Spotify a little while to catch up, but yeah. I listen to you guys on the podcast app. That's what I use.
Yep.
Awesome.
You can find us there. You can find us in all those same places.
Yes.
Plus Spotify and YouTube.
And you can tweet at us.
You can. Sorry. This is our worst outro.
I am blanking so hard, and I don't know why.
It's written on the table right in front of you.
I know. I couldn't figure out how to get to that.
It literally is written on the table in front of you.
So we don't forget, because all our things are different.
Yeah.
Like our Twitter handle and our email is different.
Although our Twitter handle is so much better.
It was YMFAITY_pod.
Had to throw the underscore in there.
Yes.
But now it's at My Friend Podcast on Twitter.
Yeah. And if you have a problem with anything that we've said today, or if you want to find out more information about Zacho or Zacho's podcast or his music or anything that he's up to, or if you just want to tweet bad or email bad things at us and say, hey, you guys are doing a horrible job, you can email at us at itrustyoupodcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on Back Row Radio every Friday morning.
And don't forget to donate to that wonderful little campaign.
Can you say the URL?
Is it the You're My Friend and I Trust You compassion, or 5K for Compassion?
So easy to remember. You nailed it. Nailed it.
I listen to it every week. It's ingrained. And I think it's partly ingrained because I always, every time I even say it, even just then, both literally and in my head, I hear Pudge laughing hysterically. Yes.
I think it's such a long thing.
Proof is in the pudding. It's easy to remember. I want you to take back all those snide looks that you've given me.
I will never.
But if this is your first time listening to this podcast, which if it is, boy, you picked a good one. What we're doing is we're trying to raise just a measly $500 for widows and orphans through Compassion International. That is their main outreach, is widows and orphans in third world countries. But they also do some really other cool stuff in more remote villages. They dig wells where people might have to travel like a mile or two just to get some water. So they also participate in that. And we really like that charity. And all we're trying to do is raise $500. If we do raise $500, what we're going to do is we're going to run in a 5K, Pudge and I. Pudge has been losing some weight here recently. You're down 47 pounds?
Yeah, around that. Yeah.
Give or take a pound or two?
Yeah.
Ounce or two. I'm still in bad health, but...
I'm not saying this wouldn't kill me.
Yeah.
Very well could.
It very well might kill us, but we're going to do it anyway.
We have our training set, but we're not going to train...
Until we've raised the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to jazzercise.
Yeah. Did you hear that one?
Yeah. I did. There's like a video or an audio tape or something like that, right?
My girlfriend got me a vinyl from...
Yes, that's what it was.
From Goodwill, Jazzercise. And it's knockoff covers of popular songs back in the 80s.
Oh, it's so wonderful.
Step 2, 3, 4, and squat 2, 3, 4.
But you'll never know.
You can do it.
Yeah, a lot of over-the-top encouragement.
Which is what we need.
Like, I think I can do these half squats just fine without your assistance. Thank you, lady.
But you'll never see it unless you donate.
Yeah. Oh, boy. We've had better outros.
Yeah. Yep.
That's okay, though. You're just getting the live, uncut, uncensored version of this podcast.
Basically.
Which is what you get every week. We just happen to be really flubbing the outro this time. So apparently we're just dragging it out.
Land the plane.
Land this plane.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you for joining us on the podcast. Special shout out to Zach Owens.
having a conversation. You're my friend and I trust you.